So let's go ahead and jump in. We'll get started that way. Here we go. So I'm Alana Davis. Many of you know me as your host and meetup organizer. I work with e-commerce shops to remove friction from the buying process. My focus is really on rescuing Shopify websites, making them more effective and attracting more visitors, providing better SEO, and increasing conversion rates, all at a fraction of the cost of a full redesign. Here is our agenda for today. It is being recorded. So again, assuming everything works with Zoom, we will be sharing the links afterwards. Typically, I can get it out today, but maybe not till tomorrow, depending on how the recording works. But I am very excited for our speaker today, so let's keep moving on. A quick shout out to our sponsors. Jason LD for SEO transforms your SEO with rich results, a program that allows you to show search enhancements such as review stars, price, availability, all in Google search, Bing, Pinterest, and other search engines. And then of course, we know Shopify, it's more than just an e-commerce solution. You can sell anywhere to anyone with Shopify's e-commerce platform and point of sale features. Check the email that you're going to get with the recap, and I will make sure to get you links for everything that we talk about today as well. And we have probably one more upcoming event before a mini break for the holidays. The next one is going to be August 30th, where we welcome Kate Collinson back to talk about Google Analytics 4 and what that means for your Shopify store. So I know there's been a few folks who have asked for that. I'm certainly very excited about it because I feel like GA4 is foreign to me and I can't comprehend it. So I'm stoked. Registration is open. So again, in the recap email, there will be a link to register for that if you haven't already received it. If you do have any topics that you want to see or areas you want me to explore, please let me know in the feedback request form so that I know kind of where y'all want to take this, what's working well, what's not working well, that sort of thing, so that we can make sure that we continue to provide a valuable resource for you. And then without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. Emmanuel will be sharing how you can make the most money from your email list. So welcome, Emmanuel.
Thank you. This is where I share. All right, let's hope the tech gods look favorably upon this presentation. Okay. You should be seeing the slide.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, wonderful. Hello, everybody. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Alana, for that warm introduction and for inviting me to share. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and I enjoy it. So I'll just dive right in and we'll get started. But first thing I want to say is, listen, we've all heard it, right? How important it is to build an email list and that the fortune is in the follow-up, right? Everybody knows that. But what does it really mean? How do we actually do that? And I'll tell you, I get this question all the time from e-commerce store owners where they're like, look, I follow that advice. I have a big email list and I built a big email list, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 people, but I'm stuck. What do I do now? How do I make that fortune in the follow-up? How do I make money with my email list? And so that was the impetus for this presentation. I decided to put all that information, all the answers that I would give in that scenario into a presentation. And that's what this presentation is, how to make the most money from your email list. Not just make money with your email list, but how to make the most money from your email list. So I'll be your host for this conversation, as Alana mentioned. My name is Emmanuel Eleyae, and I'm the founder and CEO of Eleyae Systems, where we build systems that build brands online and take e-commerce entrepreneurs from $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month to $1 million a month in revenue without wasting a fortune on ad spend or working themselves to do it, right? Our systems work because we tried them year after year after year across 50 different brands. Our own brand, GraceEleyae.com, we built to do about $30 million in the last 6 years. And we've helped our clients, over 50 different clients, make about 20 million bucks in just the last 2 years in new incremental revenue. So our systems work, they're effective, and they're scalable. So a couple of administrative notes, like Alana mentioned, there's going to be a recording, but also I'm going to share the slides. So if you guys are like, hey, look, fervently taking notes or screenshotting, we'll share these slides with you. And on top of that, Not here to sell anything today. The goal is to give you information, and we have a bunch of freebies afterwards that we're going to be providing you guys too. Some course training materials that we offered for sale before, but because Alana has been awesome enough to invite us here, we're offering that for free to help you guys make sure you get the most money out of your email list and get the most out of Klaviyo and master your email marketing, right? So we'll be giving you downloadable templates, Klaviyo setup guides, and a bunch of other resources. So make sure to stay till the end to get all that. Now, disclaimer. Normally, with these trainings, most people sit back and just, kind of passively consume the information. They watch and that's kind of cool, and then don't take action afterwards. But I have a different goal for you today. My goal for you today is for you to leave here with work done, to actually turn this into a working session, right? So I'm going to be giving you actionable step-by-step things you can do right now during this hour while I'm reviewing this material with you, so that when you're done, we're done talking about it, and I'm done walking you through our systems, our momentum method, you can actually send emails out to your audience and start making money today, right? And then after the presentation, I'm sure we'll have some time. I'll try and move through it as quickly as possible, so we have time for Q&A. And I encourage you to bring as many questions as you can to the presentation. I plan to answer as many as I can as time will allow. I'm an open book. Everything we do for our agency, I'd like to tell people, we don't keep any secrets. We'll share everything with you, right? So sit forward in your chair, fire up a Google Doc, because you'll need that to work through the exercises I'm going to be giving you during this presentation. Open up your email service provider, which is hopefully Klaviyo, and prepare to go to work with me, because here we go. All right. So before that, while you're getting that open, getting your Google Doc open and your Klaviyo, I'll do a brief introduction. Who am I? Why am I here? Right. And so I'm Emmanuel Eleyae, like I said, CEO of Eleyae Systems, which is a digital marketing agency specifically focused on scaling e-commerce stores from 6 figures a year to 6 figures a month to 7 figures a month, right? That's our goal, is scale. The brands that come to us, they don't have a problem of trying to find customers or trying to make sales. They have the problem of trying to handle that growth and improve that growth trajectory, just like we did in our first 3 years of business in our e-commerce store. We 10x'd every year, from 60,000 our first year to 600,000 to 6 million. And it's a unique problem that a lot of folks struggle with, and we've solved it. So we've created an agency to help others handle that rapid growth when all the wheels are falling off and everything's breaking. Also, marketing is not my first language. I like to say it's my second language. I started out in the ops field. I graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point, was an armor officer for several years, and left there and got my MBA, and then landed at Amazon, where my last job there, I was running a 1.1 million square foot facility with 750 employees and shipping 1 million packages a week. Very intense job. And it was the kind of environment where the systems and processes, they have to be effective. They have to be repeatable. They have to work. You can't just not ship packages out. So after that, I landed into the startup world and started learning marketing. And that's where I am today, right? I do marketing, but I bring that operation experience to the marketing field. And in our agency, where we do marketing, our email marketers are making 50 to 75 emails per month per person, thousands of emails per year, right, is what we make. Our systems have to be scalable. So not just effective and repeatable, but scalable as well. And we've also, as an agency, generated over $5.3 million in email attributed revenue. That's specifically through email in just the last year for our clients, and 15.5 million in total revenue. So we're banking in, clocking in right at about 35% of revenue for email. And I want to share with you our workflow on how we do that, so that you can generate 35% or more revenue in your business as well. Key thing there, I spent time on that, and I don't want to say that to brag or even spend a lot of time talking about me. I say that to earn your trust, right? As an entrepreneur, your time is precious and the most valuable thing you have. And so for you to give me an hour of that time, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you feel comfortable that I'm not going to waste it, right? That I have the background and experience necessary to actually help you make more money with email and make this hour investment of time worth it for you, right? So if you implement what I'm about to tell you in this next hour and make money from your email list, I promise this will be the highest return on investment meetup you've ever attended. And if that's a bold claim, please, I dare you, prove me wrong. I would love to see you guys try, because I don't think anyone will prove me wrong. It works. I've seen it happen time and time again. So next slide. Why are you here? I've made some assumptions about you guys, right? So I'm assuming you want more revenue, profit, customers, and orders. And I'm also assuming that paid marketing channels are expensive and you want to increase your ROAS, right? You're looking for a way to improve. iOS 14.5 has made returns on ad spend decrease significantly. So you're looking for a way to improve it. I'm assuming also that you want a deeper connection with your audience to stay top of mind, a way to not have to pay Facebook or TikTok or YouTube ads to reach your audience. You want to be able to connect with your own audience and engage with them more deeply. And you want higher margins than you get selling on other channels, right? So all the other channels, retail, affiliate, Amazon, dropship, besides your Shopify store, they take a big cut, right? And you don't make as much when you sell through those other channels. So if any of those relate to you, you're in the right place. Here's why. Email marketing is the strongest channel that we have. For every $1 we spend on email marketing, we can expect $42 in return, right? That's the study that was done, $42. Right? With paid advertising platforms, we're usually happy spending $1 to make $2 or $3. But with email, we make $42 for every dollar we spend on email marketing, right? So it's extremely lucrative channel. And some people are like, look, I don't want email to be all about making money, making money, making money. Fine. So for those of you guys who are like, look, you're all about brand and engagement and culture and community, 49% of consumers said they would like to receive promotional emails from their favorite brands on a weekly basis. A lot of brands send quarterly, right? Monthly, if that, and then they only send to their engaged list. Well, people joined your list to hear from you, to get whatever you offered them. They wanted it. They were interested. So they want to hear from you. So this is another study. Even if you don't want to send emails out just to make money, send them out to build your community, right? And because people are asking for it. So a couple of other assumptions I've made is that there are some myths out there, and you may not believe them, but they're out there, and I want to make sure we're all on the same page and bust some myths and then replace them with our bold beliefs, right? I believe there's some myths out there that are just incorrect, or at least for us in our e-commerce businesses and in our agency, we have seen these myths just be false. They're just myths. They're wrong. And here's what we believe instead. So the first myth is emails have to be well designed for me to send them, right? Beautiful emails sell product. I believe this is a myth. Right? I believe what's more important than focusing on design and gorgeous emails that are beautiful, and we want to be Apple, we want to do what Nike's doing, we want to have these beautiful Photoshop, InDesign created emails. Being in the inbox matters more than looking pretty, right? Because what's our focus is, we're here to make, run a business, and having a relationship with our subscribers, that's what sells the product. And what I see happen time and time again, people spend a lot of time on the design, working with designers and going through multiple rounds of revisions just for one email, and weeks go by and they haven't sent an email because they're trying to make it look beautiful. They're trying to make it look pixel perfect, right? Get the custom fonts and get the exact cutouts just right, make it look gorgeous. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about design. It's not that important. Another myth, sending too many emails will burn out my list. Right? This is what lonely email list owners say, because if you're not sending emails, you're not getting any engagement, you're not getting any replies, you're not getting any information from your list, right? This is a myth, right? People, you will not burn out your list by sending emails. You'll burn out your list by having poor quality emails, because the quantity of emails sent matters much less than the relevance of emails sent. Just let me give you an example. Let's assume if you signed up for an email list, and every time you received an email from that email list sender, your bank account increased by $5. You basically made $5 of value every time you got an email from that email list owner. You would open every email. In fact, you'd be begging them for more emails. You'd be excited for every email that you got. That's the way we need to think about our email list. We need to think of it as we are sending value to these subscribers. And if that's the case, then sending more rather than less is what we should be doing, not focusing on the quantity. Just keep going because it's valuable to them. So myth busted. Next myth, list building is the most important thing for e-commerce store owners. We hear it all the time. Fortune's in the follow-up, build your email list, build your email list, you need to grow an email list. I think that's incorrect. I believe list building is a hoax, not for everyone, specifically for for e-commerce email marketers. Here's why. The best way to build your list is to generate sales. Those are the people you need on your list. The people that need to do a lot of list building are in the information marketing space, are in the service space. They're B2B type people, because what they're selling is thousands of dollars. That means people don't just buy, off of a website. They don't click and buy, right? There's a lot of consideration. They've got to price check. They've got to talk to somebody. They've got to do a lot of deciding before buying. In the e-commerce space, most of us are selling stuff that's $25, $50, maybe $100, $150, maybe. It's not that expensive and can fall into the category of almost an impulse buy. And so for that reason, I believe that the best way for us to build our list is to bypass really trying to focus on list building stuff and just do lead capture on the front end and make a sale, close the sale, right? And that way you have the best type of email list, a list filled with buyers, people who have bought from you versus a list of leads, right? Here's 3 very specific reasons why you shouldn't focus on list building. The first one is if you focus on list building for the sake of list building, you'll probably end up doing some silly things, right? That actually will be detrimental in the long run, like competitions, right? Giveaways, people giving away iPads, giving iPhones away. You're getting people on your list who just wanted the iPhone or the iPad and will never really buy your product potentially, right? Or buying lists, that's even worse, right? All you get is a list of people who want a freebie, right? Or you get a list of people who aren't really truly interested in your products. Right. The second reason is the quality of your relationship with your list will suffer, right? It's obvious when you're on a list where the person's just trying to build their list versus a list where the list owner is actually providing value, right? Those lists where we do a giveaway and we enter to win an iPad, all they do is bombard you with offer after offer after offer, buy, because they're just trying to churn and burn, right? Those are the lists that get burnt out, right? The third reason you don't want to focus on list building is just you'll waste a lot of time. A whole bunch of time. There's nothing worse than having a list of 40,000 people and only a 1% open rate. Can you imagine? It is the most horrible feeling. Yeah, it's a large list, but it's useless because those people don't want anything that you're offering. So you can go around saying, oh, I've got 40,000 people on my email list, but you're not making any money, right? So focus on having really good offers that people want to buy, and then just having pop-ups or lead capture on your website, and they'll sign up. The email list will take care of itself and they'll buy. All right. Now that we've busted that myth, here's another one. I have to have a big email list to make enough money to justify emailing consistently. I hear this one a lot too. People are like, look, I'll get to that. I'll deal with email when I have a bigger list, when it makes sense, when I'm making enough money. This is a myth. Start right away sending emails and making money from your list. Here's a bold belief that I have. You should just focus on a benchmark. Give yourself just 10% a month. Say, I want to make just 10% a month from my email list. What that means is if you have 100-person email list and your average order value that you make on each sale is $40, 10%, 10 sales a month would net you $400. Remember, there's no customer acquisition cost. So that's pure profit in your pocket with a 100-person email list, right? So don't worry about having a huge list. You can scale that down. If you had a 10-person email list, that's $40 a month. That covers your subscription. And remember, Klaviyo is free under 250 subscribers. So that's the return on that is infinite. So there's no such thing as too small of an email list. Okay. So myth busted. Next, unsubscribes are bad and I should try to avoid them. This is a huge myth. And if you fall into this one, you hopefully after today, you will no longer feel this way. You shouldn't try to avoid them. Unsubscribes are good, right? People who aren't going to buy from you want to leave your list. I'll go so far as to say, encourage them to do so, right? Actually have a flow for people that haven't opened your last 13 emails, right? Especially if you've been emailing at least once a week or so. Last 13 emails in the last 90 days are unengaged. They haven't been opening, haven't been clicking, they haven't been active on your site. If they're not interested, you're paying for them through your bill, right? Get them off your list. You can manually suppress them or send out an email to have them unsubscribe. Unsubscribes are good. They weren't going to buy from you anyway. And more importantly, one of the strategies that we teach is you still can reach them, because sometimes people unsubscribe. They don't want to necessarily not buy from you. They unsubscribe because they don't want emails from you. Maybe they're just not big email people. Well, they might be on Facebook. They might be on some of these other channels. Guess what? You can sync your unsubscribes in Klaviyo with Facebook. Hot tip for you there. And then you can market to them through your ads in Facebook. So you can take, if you're having a sale, take that same copy and create it from the email, run it as an ad to your unsubscribed list, and you can reach them over on Facebook and Instagram. That is one of our highest converting audiences on Facebook across all of our clients. So please take that tip and run with it. All right. Those are all the myths. And here's some assumptions I have about you as an email marketer. Right? I assume you have an email list of more than 0 people. So you actually have someone to send, right? For you to get the most out of the training today. And you're not sending them enough emails, right? That's why you're here. You want to know how to send more emails, what ideas are there, how I should be engaging with my list, right? The second assumption I have is that you actually have a way to email them, right? You have an email service provider to use to send these emails. You're not using Outlook, right? Or Apple Mail and copying and pasting them into the CC field and sending an email. I'm assuming you have something like Klaviyo, MailChimp, something to use. I also am assuming you already have a Shopify store set up or an e-commerce store. Basically, when people get your email, they should be able to go somewhere and buy from you, right? Or you're planning to set one up in the future, right? You're very close to it. And the last assumption I've made for you to get the most out of this is that you have a physical product or a niche already chosen, right? You're not in the hypothetical phase, should I, shouldn't I? And you've made some sales, right? So we know that you have something to sell. If this applies to you and you have this or more, a bigger email list, you're already on Klaviyo, you have a Shopify store, you've made more than a few sales, then if you're in that scenario, you're in the right place today. You're going to get the most out of this training. Okay. Now, here's what the traditional email marketing flow looks like. I'm going to show you guys kind of what is the reason why I had to create this program. Hit play here. So normally what happens is people this is what they use to make and send emails. They create a campaign and they sit down, they fire up their laptop, they log into the email service provider, and they go to create campaigns right away to start making an email. And here's where they mess up. They're immediately bombarded with a bunch of settings and they get stuck and stuck and stuck, right? Because they have to create the name. Now they have to add settings like UTMs and smart sending controls. They get stuck because they have to choose which list or segment to send to. Then they get stuck again because they have to determine the from, reply to, subject line, the preview text, and they get stuck because now they have to choose the template, right? There's all these different options and they're just constantly having to switch sides of their brain from going from settings and configuration to segments to creative. Then when they finally get to what they wanted to do, which is make the email, the creative part that they thought they were really going to do, they get stuck again. What do I write? What should I say? What images should I choose? What content block should I use? Is this email even laid out well? And as soon as they're done with that, they go back and they're stuck on settings again. Right now we're dealing with what day should I send this email? What time would be best to send it? Should I send it out in the recipient time zone? Should I use time warp? Wait, what even is time warp? And they're stuck again, right? Roadblock after roadblock after roadblock with this traditional email marketing flow. It takes forever to get even just one email out because you're constantly losing momentum. You don't realize that you keep getting stuck because you're using different sides of your brain, right? Both the creative and the analytical. And then you throw in some settings and configuration, you're just constantly switching, right? And so what that means is basically the traditional email marketing workflow is no workflow at all, right? There's no workflow. This traditional workflow is inefficient at best, and at worst, it will cause you to not want to send out emails at all. It'll be overwhelming, right? And that's sad because you'll miss out on all the wonderful benefits of email we were just talking about a second ago, right? Increased profits, better relationship with your audience, and an engaged list. And that's what we're going to solve today by showing you our workflow, what we call our momentum method, right? Using this process, we're able to pump out 50 to 75 emails per month per person regularly, right? And you're only going to need to do 8. So this should make doing email marketing for your single brand simple and easy, right? Very straightforward, right? Just an hour or 2 a month and you've got your whole email marketing calendar for the month done. Even better, once you have this process down, you can hand it off to a virtual assistant or an employee to do for you and not even have to put in that hour or 2 yourself. You can just check their work and make sure they did it right, right? The real secret sauce of this process is that we're going to separate out the steps that keep you stuck and frustrated in that traditional email marketing workflow we just saw from the steps you need to take. We're going to separate these 2 steps out. So you won't be doing creative things at the same time you're doing analytical things, at the same time you're doing settings and configuration things. By batching the different parts of the process in this specific way, you can get into the zone and be really productive at each step instead of constantly starting and stopping and being really unproductive. Okay, so as we go through these slides, I'll also be referencing other secret sauce tips that highlight this idea of getting into the zone. So here's the steps. First, you're going to choose your dates to send emails, right? Then you're going to, secondly, choose your email campaign types. Once you've got those email campaign types, finished, you're going to build a skeleton of your emails and gather assets. Notice none of those things are in the email service provider. You're not in Klaviyo yet. You don't get to Klaviyo until this fourth step. And even then you don't go to campaigns and start building campaigns. You choose an email template in your email service provider. And then after you got the template done and you built it, you build the email and launch the email campaign. At that point, step 5 is when you can start launching your building your campaigns and launching them and scheduling them out in your email service provider, ESP. And once that's all done, the 6th step, we're not done once we've sent the emails. We want to check on those metrics and then take the best ones and put them into flows. So that's what we'll be going through right now in this training. This is where we'll start using that Google Doc you opened up. So everybody, if you were sitting back, it's time to sit up again. We'll get that Google Doc out and open the Google Doc, and we're going to start working, right? We're going to build your first email with our momentum workflow. Let's get started. So first thing, we're going to choose dates to send emails, right? So this is what it looks like when we start. We just pick dates. For us, we like to send twice a week. So that's 8 emails a month on a Monday, Thursday cadence, on a Tuesday, Friday cadence, right? So you would just pick slots, if you're using Asana, you would just create 8 tasks on Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday, or Monday, Thursday, right? And if you wanted to send a third one, if you're really ambitious, you want to send 12, that's where we normally take a Saturday or Sunday day. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those kinds of things. You can play with the idea, but that's step 1. When am I going to send emails out? That's all you have to do with this step. No creative work, no building campaigns, no thinking of ideas, nothing yet. That's step 1. Just pick. And if you're in a Google Doc, just list 1 through 8, and pick the dates you're going to send. Okay. At the end of it, if you're using a calendar, it should look like this. Now, the second thing, now we're going to choose email campaign types. And this is where it helps to have a swipe file or some kind of frame of reference or ideas in advance, which those of you guys that stay to the end will give you our exact emails that we send for every client. This is what we came up with, and we'll give you some other resources that'll help you start that swipe file for yourself. So you have go-to resource for what email types you want, right? So if you're following along in the Google Doc, this is where you're going to pick an email type that resonates with you and that you'd like to send out to your audience. I highly recommend the blog post spotlight or product spotlight. Those are the simplest to build for this training, one of those two. And then write that at the top of the page, right? Start with that one. That's the one we're going to work on today. And then feel free to add a couple more that you like and put them in another page, put them on the page somewhere, 2 through 8, and that'll be your homework for after the session, right? We'll slot them in all in the calendar, but for now, we're going to continue just making this one email. But these emails right here, what we found is these work the best for every brand, right? So 8 to 12 emails here that we have listed, they just work no matter what the brand is, and it's what allows us to quickly jump into a brand and get 8 emails done in just a couple hours because it's consistent. It's the equivalent of a template, but it's better than just the generic templates you have in Klaviyo. So what are they? The first one is a letter from founder. This is a really good one because everyone wants to hear from the founder. We know that every single brand has a story. So tell your story. Usually you can just take it from your About Us page, right? And this is a good one to make a plain text email, which always gets past spam filters a lot better than gorgeously designed HTML emails, right? So that's the first one. Who we are is another one. Just talk about your brand, another one from the About Us page, more content from there. Customer testimonials is a great email that's simple to make. You just have an image at the top, 2 or 3 testimonials and a block below that, and then your call to action at the bottom. Social media, follow us. We always assume that someone buys from us, they know everything about us, our whole digital footprint. They've been to all our socials, they've seen all our ads, they've seen all our blog posts. They haven't. So make these emails, the next 2, the social media and blog posts, where you just tell them what's on your social media. Here's what's on our Instagram. Take 3 or 4 posts from your Instagram or a screenshot of your Instagram wall, those 9 posts, your grid, and just put them in an email and share that with people. Easy email to make if you're running out of ideas on what to send your list. Social media, same with the blog post. You just take the title of the blog post, the first paragraph, and a call to action, and maybe the image, featured image from the blog post. Bang, you've got an email to send. Right? Influencer spotlight. Did an influencer shout you out? Take a screenshot of that influencer, put a snippet of what they said in the email, the text of the email, call to action to go watch the post or read the post. Right? FAQ, great one. Well, people have questions. They wonder things about your brand and your products. This is a great email to send to answer them. and then tutorial, how to do something, right? Very easy email, just list out the steps or make a quick video that you link to in your email, but that's always a great email. And if you notice, these are non-promotional. They don't have to be about sales. This is that $5 of value I was talking about, where you won't burn out your list if you're sending these kinds of emails consistently, right? Because people are like, oh, that's valuable. I did need to know how to use that product. Oh, I didn't know you guys were on TikTok. Wow, what do you guys got going on over there? And people will click. These are great emails to send to just build a relationship with your list. Now, we do need to make money. And so the promotional, you notice, are far fewer, right? That's on purpose, right? We have the bestsellers email. That's a good one to just have a bunch of different products there. Staff favorites is another good angle to sell product. And then a product spotlight where you focus on just one product, right? The others are multiple products. This one is one. Now, what we do is we make sure we have a 3-to-1 ratio of promotional or non-promotional to promotional emails, right? So for every 4 emails that we send, 3 of them are from the non-promotional list. 1 of them is from the promotional list. What this does is this is how we avoid burning out our list, right? And so when we're planning it out, we plan probably like into like a 2-week sprint, right? So one easy way is when you're looking at your calendar, the first 2 weeks is one sprint, the second 2 weeks is one sprint. At the end of the sprint, the 4th email is one of these promotional emails. The 3 before that are non-promotional. So you could have something where the promotional email is about a specific product. The first one that you send is, hey, it could be like a letter from the founder talking about why you started the business and created the product. Very non-promotional. The second one could be customer testimonials about the product or social media images containing the product, right? Still not salesy, it's just about the social media images. Then the third one could be a blog post about the problems and the solutions that your products solve. And guess what? That 4th one is the spotlight about the product that they've been hearing about that whole time. So 3-to-1 emails is how you keep from burning out your list. All right. So that's what you're going to do now. This is an example of what we normally do at this step, right? So we will choose the 8 emails. So there's 12 different ones. We need 8 for our calendar for this month. So we'll just pick them and list them, right? And remember, this is a secret sauce tip. Make this choice before you go make the campaigns, right? Before you start coming up with content, just pick the ideas and slot those in the calendar, because that way you don't lose momentum. It's faster to do it this way than to wait till you're like, all right, what am I going to make now? What subject lines? What? No, don't worry about that. The key thing is, I want you to notice, we're not in the calendar right now. We're not in our email service provider, and we're not choosing images or doing copywriting. We're just picking email topics, right? Because we want to be in the zone and separate all those distractions, separate out all those distractions, so we can focus on our productive mental energy on just this step, choosing what emails we want to send to build a stronger relationship with our list. Okay. So now this is what your Asana or your calendar should look like, right? You actually have 8 emails listed. And if you're in a Google Doc, you can list them 1 through 8 with a date of the days you're going to send. And now you have a topic. Ideally at the top, you have either a social media spotlight or a blog post spotlight for the first one that we're going to work on. And then you have 7 others that are listed. And for those of you that are looking, you're wondering what EC means, that just means email campaign as opposed to EF, email flow. That's just how we keep track of the emails. Okay. All right. Now, one thing I want to note, and this is something that people worry about and wonder about, this is another way to make sure you have tons of inspiration in emails, is cheating is encouraged. Okay. This is not school. Do not start from scratch. I say again, do not start from scratch. You don't have to be original and unique every time, right? Remember the myth section about beautifully designed emails? You don't have to be Apple. You don't have to be Nike. There's no way we even have the budget to do that. So why bother, right? Just focus on staying top of mind with your list and sending emails out, keeping that momentum so people are used to, oh, it's Tuesday, I'm going to see an email from that brand. It's Friday, right? Just get more consistency. A body in motion is much easier to keep moving than a body at rest. That's how I want your email marketing program to be, always in motion. So a couple ways to make sure you always have ideas. Obviously, we gave you our 12 that we always start with, but they may even be too generic for you, right? You've got the templates in Klaviyo. Those are definitely generic, but you can save emails from influencers or brands or authority figures that you admire that are in your niche that you see, recreate them, right? Obviously change your colors and fonts around a little bit, but save those. Those can become templates for you to use, right? You can Google search best email examples or email swipe file or example emails and just save them, right? These are the things you can recreate or hand off to your subordinate or VA to recreate for you. And then a great way to get ideas for emails and what to make and campaign types is just virtual conversations like these and physical conversations, right? That you have with your prospects, your customers, family, friends, and especially for FAQ emails. Like if I'm you, you could send out an FAQ email once a week and no one would get tired of it, right? Because the questions are the content is what is interesting, right? Like I said, we make 50 to 75 emails a month per person in our agency. There is no way every single one of those can be unique. So don't feel like you have to. Don't let that pressure stop you from consistently emailing your list. If you need permission to go swipe someone else's, to cheat a little bit, to go out and take what others are doing for yourself, do it. In the marketing field, we call that inspiration, right? That's what we call it. So just be inspired and use it, okay? All right, now we can start being creative. Step 3, we're gonna build our skeleton for our email, but we're not gonna do it in our email service provider. We're going to do it in a Google Doc. So that Google Doc, you should have your 8, take the first one, and I want you to put on that second page, this skeleton: subject, preview text, content, image, which is optional, a link to an image, call to action, and a link. Okay. This is what it'll look like when we're done with this first email. This is what you're going for. You want to have, like in this example, we're doing a blog post spotlight, right? So we've listed out our skeleton, the subject, preview text, content, image, and CTA, and we're just going to write it out. So in this example, a subject has never run out of email content ideas. Quick trick, right? Preview text, you can always know what to send if you follow this process. For the content, I put a block of content in there. And then for the image, I know where to find it and what I'm going to have. It would be even better if I put a link straight to it. And then the call to action is a link, and I put the link there. Guess what? How much easier is it going to be when I get into doing my email that I already have everything scripted? And even better, if you have someone working for you, helping you with your emails, how easy is it for them to make emails when you have it all written out already? You can batch 10, 20, 30, 50 to 75 at the beginning of the month and hand it off, and they can just churn out all those emails. That's a year's worth of emails that you could have batched and made for you using this process. Remember, momentum, that's what we're going after. Right. Another option for those of you that are really ahead of the class, right, and love checklists, right, you use Asana, right, instead of a Google Doc. If you're a checklist nerd like me, then you get that satisfying feeling of checking that thing off when it's finished, or moving it from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3, through the momentum method. And then, wow, doesn't that feel good, right? This right here is the biggest momentum method secret in the entire hour of the training. If you get nothing else out of this, it's not just the Asana, it's that you do the content creation part outside of your email service provider, outside of Klaviyo, so that you can separate out the content creation part of your brain from the settings and configuration side of your brain that you'll need when you're setting up the campaigns and templates. Do this first. Even if you don't want to do the calendaring and you don't want to do the email types, whatever, start all your email creation in a doc, so you can get the creative part done, organize your images, organize your calls to action, and just keep that focus to finish that. Then go make your emails, okay? So another tip, separate out coming out with subject lines from coming up with the rest of your content. You can even batch this process even more. Just create a swipe file of a bunch of subject lines. Here's some right here that we're giving to you for free if you want to screenshot this, but also, like I said, I'm going to have a link at the end where you can have 20 of our most profitable, highest converting subject lines that I'll give you at the end of this presentation. But separate this out from the content creation. Always have a constant and never ending list of subject lines in a note or in a file on your computer that you're always adding to, so that when you go to fill out your skeleton, you don't have to think too hard about it, right? Here's a couple of good ones to start. So for now, in your Google Doc, pick 2 or 3 of these subject lines, right? Doesn't matter which ones they are, just pick a couple. And that'll help us for the next step, right? When we actually start working. Another bonus tip, you can use subject lines as preview text too. So if you're wondering what the preview text could be, just have a second subject line. So here's what you're doing. You're going to slap some content in for preview text. You've already taken the subject lines, you found one. Pull some content from somewhere from your content, right? If you're doing a blog, go to your website right now, grab the blog and grab the link, add that in for the CTA, grab the image, add that in where it says image, the link to it, and then grab the first paragraph of text, put that in for content, and then take the headline and make that the subject or put it in somewhere else, right? If you're doing a product announcement, grab the link to the product, that's your CTA. Grab one of the images from your product page, that'll be your image, and grab a bit from the product description, and that'll be your content, right? If you're doing a About Us, grab the link from your About Us page, grab an image from your About Us page, and a little bit from the first paragraph. See how easy this is? We're trying to make it easy peasy. Please don't think too hard about it. The goal is momentum, guys. So please get this copied and into your Google Doc right now, because we're going to use that in the next step. All right. The next step, now that you have that built, right? In this step, we're going to pick how we want our email to look. So all of that was just the pure content for the email. Now we get to design it, right? This is another area that is ripe for paralysis analysis and could cause major roadblocks that make us just not move forward and finish our emails. That is not going to happen to us, guys. Promise me you're going to use this method and that's not going to happen to you. Go ahead and open your email service provider. This is the Klaviyo time. If you have Klaviyo or MailChimp, whatever, and navigate to your email template section, not your create a campaign section. That's how we're going to avoid paralysis analysis or getting stuck on these major roadblocks. You're going to go to the section over here on the left where it says menus. You're going to skip the campaign section. You're going to go to email templates. Okay, email templates. Now there's going to be another trap that pops up. As soon as you go to email templates, it's going to show you all these gorgeous designed emails. Don't fall into this trap. They're beautiful. And it's like, oh man, look, I want my email to look like that, right? These designed emails would definitely cause paralysis analysis, because when you start making them, you'll be struggling to figure out why your email doesn't look as good as the one from that template, right? Why doesn't it have that same aesthetic, that same look and feel, right? The reason is the reason these emails look good, if you look closely, has nothing to do with the layout of the email. It has everything to do with the images they use in the email, right? The background images, the foreground images, that's what make these really pop and stand out. So if you're not using the exact same images in your email, you won't be able to recreate this look, and you'll be sitting there stuck trying to figure out how to get there, right? I want you to start really simple, right? You just need something that's enough to hold the content from your skeleton. You don't need to recreate this. Avoid these, right? It's very difficult to recreate them, okay? What I want you to do is go to the basic ones. Use these little boring, ugly guys, right? Here's why. The designed emails, you'll never be able to really make them look that way. So everything you do to them will make them look a little bit worse. But with these little guys, you can only make these look better. Right? I mean, it's so plain, it's so basic. Anything you do to it makes it come alive. And that'll help give you even more momentum, because everything you do will have a positive effect on the look and feel of the email, and you'll feel good about yourself and want to keep doing this. So please start with these and then go. All right, let's do another video. Here's how I want you to make these emails, right? It's time to put all the pieces together. You've created everything. You've gone through the four steps of the momentum method so far, right? So should really feel like nothing, should feel like copy and paste at this point. Come on, play. There we go. Okay, grab your Google Doc and start to paint by the numbers, right? So you want to open up email templates, right? We're going to skip past the designed emails and give it a name. Create a simple little basic template. And brownie points, if you have uploaded the image into the image gallery, that saves you in the future, saves you a lot of time in the future when you upload all your images in advance. Then you're just clicking and bringing them in instead of having to import them. Right. And if you're in the Google Doc and you don't have an email service provider and you're following along, this same strategy works for email, right? Like Outlook or Apple Mail. You can follow the same process. Just copy your subject lines, preview text over, your image into it, and your blog post announcement, so you can follow along and keep working too. So you're looking at this, we're making a product announcement, right? So we're just using the product page. We copied the link over. We copied the headline over, right? A little bit of the description over too. And by the way, when you're creating these emails, Adding alt text is critical because sometimes people have their images turned off. So you want to have something there, even if it's just the headline, magnetic liner duo. So people with images turned off can see what that image was about, right? We take the link from the product page, slap it into the button, review it real quick, and boom, that is all it should take when you actually get into your email service provider and start making the emails, okay? Please don't make it harder than it needs to be. All right, now you've created your template, you've created your content, calendar, we've made the email, it's saved as a template. Close that, save it, and then go back to your menu. And now you can go to campaigns, right? Instead of going to email templates, go to campaigns. And now guess what? We're using the momentum process. Stay in the zone, right? By focusing on one step at a time in bulk, so you can be super productive and efficient on that one task for multiple emails, right? This step right here is why we built the template first, right? Because now we're switching out of creative mode, content mode, design mode, and we're into settings mode, right? Look at all these various settings we have to configure when we get here. Is we have to look at listen segment. What segment should we go to? What send time, smart sending? Should we use UTMs, from name, from URL, right? All these things now are where we're at, which is why we want to separate this part of our brain from the rest. And a lot of times what we'll do is, what you just saw with the email creation, we'll make all 8 emails like that. They're all templates just sitting there. And then we'll come in batch create all of these. So we're doing all the settings at once, right? So in the interest of time, if you're at this step right now, you've got your campaign open, just pick any settings for this point, because we're not going to send this out anyway, unless you want to. Bonus points if you do, but just pick a list or a segment to send to, and then we'll move on. I recommend turning on the UTMs and some of these other things, but let's go. So once you then have finished putting in your settings, the next step is, this is the step why we actually created the templates first. This step is, in the past, before you would do the momentum method, you would start creating your email here. Instead, what we do is we pick a template and just that we already made, and it just gets added, and we go back to settings, creating the settings, right? So I'm going to click, check the template, and launch the campaign. So here's the process in a video. All right, so we'll go to campaigns this time, right? As opposed to going to email templates, right? Then we're going to give it our name, magnetic duo liner, because this is a product spotlight. And then all the different settings, right? We pick the list. I highly recommend having a preview list, even if you're not an agency like us, just so you can send to yourself and see what it'll look like, how the customer is going to get it, right? Subject line, where does that come from? That's your Google Doc, right? Your script, your preview text, same thing. Your from name, sender name, those are all configured in advance. So we don't need to get stuck here with this. Copy paste, okay? You're going to save it. And then we're going to select a template. We're not going to create an email now because we've already made it. We're not going to get stuck with the designed emails. We've already made it. We're not going to go to the basic template either because we're done. Look at it. This is the email we made. Make sure it's the right one. And bang, just like that, we have created a campaign to send out to our email. How much easier is it to schedule emails? How easy is it to train someone to schedule emails if that's all they have to do? You can break up the process. So now you have a team of people, one person doing the creation, one person doing the calendaring and strategy, one person doing the campaign scheduling, right? All these different pieces now you can build a team, okay? It's our goal here, momentum, guys. All right, so that was the main part. With that, you should have created at least one email. Just rinse and repeat this exact process I showed you until you've made all 8 email campaigns and you've scheduled them out according to your calendar. Now, the fun part is we start wrapping up here, right? Track how your campaigns are performing, right? Here's the simplest view, right? Just look at your metrics or your campaigns, go to campaigns that have been sent out, and just review the best performing ones by open rate, click-through rate, and placed order amount, right? Now, here's something that a lot of people don't do, that is something that I don't hear talked about enough, is the best performing campaigns that were non-promotional, put those into your flows, right? You put those into your welcome series, your post-purchase series, because the thing is, flows don't get a lot of traffic, right? And a lot of people are like, they basically set up their flows one time when they launch Klaviyo, and they just take the off-the-shelf stuff, turn it live, and it lives there forever. Or if they're more advanced, they'll go in there with those emails that are in there and they'll A/B test them, which means that each email gets even less traffic, right? Less people seeing it because there's less people going through your flows because they're behaviorally triggered. Then there's less people going through flows than there are getting your emails, right? So one email campaign, if you send it to everybody, that might be 10,000 people. Well, there may only be 500 people to go through all of your flows in a month because they're not really abandoning cart, they're not visiting, browse abandoning, they're not purchasing that much, you don't have a lot of activity. So those emails in there don't get a lot of visibility. So how do you really know how well it does? I highly recommend, even if you're going to make a flow email, send it out to your whole list first, A/B test the subject line, see how it does, and then bring it into your flow. So that way you have the best performing email campaigns in your flows. That's the simplest and easiest way to improve the flows, which are the money you make while you sleep, right? That's the true automated riches that people talk about. That is the money you make while you sleep, and it's the good stuff. So that's the best way to improve your flows. Other metrics, right? A lot of people will stop there. They'll just look at open, clicked, and placed order. We like to look at these metrics, right? And we also go a step further. Metrics in isolation, data is just data, it's just numbers. It's more useful if you compare it to a benchmark, right? Where you really want to get to is comparing against benchmarks, and not just benchmarks for campaigns, individual campaigns. Oh, 20% open rate this time for this one email, but you want to set benchmarks for your whole email marketing program. Last month, we were at 20% open rate versus this month, we're at 15% open rate. This is much more valuable. And then more importantly, what was our goal? Our goal was to be a 30% open rate. That was our benchmark. Well, if we're at 15%, that's see how much more valuable that is, insightful in terms of insight. But we were supposed to be at 30, we're at 15, or vice versa. If we're at 15 or if we're at 30 and our goal was 15, that was our benchmark, then we're actually doing well, right? So the worst trap to get into is, oh, we want more, we always want better. No, set a benchmark and try to achieve it. And then once you hit your benchmarks consistently, then you can reach them, right? These right here are the key metrics we look at for our clients, right? So we look at all the revenue metrics first, obviously. Revenue from email, revenue from flows, campaigns, percentage-wise, right? And revenue per recipient. I like the revenue per recipient one because it allows you to look across flows and campaigns and see how much are we making just as email per person on the list, right? And your goal is to make $1 per person per month on your list. So if you have a 10,000 person email list, you try and make $10,000, okay? So open rates, click-through rates, obviously the sending, but we look at those month over month also, not just email by email, and we set benchmarks to see how we do. Okay, email list size, how is that growing? So you want to keep track of how well your list is growing. And this one doesn't have to be, and here's some contrary metrics for you. A lot of people want higher open rates. That's not necessarily the case, right? You don't necessarily have to have a higher open rate, because the way to get a higher open rate is to send to only the most engaged people. Well, you may not have that many. So that means you're sending to less people than you could be, whereas the unengaged people may just be waiting around because they're not ready to buy yet. So they're not opening because they're not ready to buy. But when they're ready to buy, you want to be top of mind. So we go for a 15% open rate to send to more people. Right. The other thing too is having a big list is not important, because what I want you doing also is cleaning your list. You should be deliberately suppressing people who are not interested and getting them off of your list. Right. So you don't necessarily always have to be going up. That's why even you see a negative 17 there, but it's still green. That's okay, because we did that. It wasn't a lot of people unsubscribing. We unsubscribed them. So you should be actively cleaning your list. All right. So let's recap. What have we covered? To review the steps. First, you chose your dates that you're going to send emails. You set those aside, or your employees set those aside, right? You've chosen your email campaign types. What emails am I going to send on those days? And then for each of those, you fired up a Google Doc and you built a skeleton and gathered all the assets you'll need for each of those emails. Batch that, or someone you've hired has done that. Then you've gone into the Klaviyo and created templates. So when this is done, you can go in there as the boss and see 8 email templates there and review them all at once, right? Then after they're approved, step 5 is actually go create the campaigns and schedule them, right? You don't have to send them right away. You schedule all 8. And then as a leader, you can go in again and check to make sure they're scheduled properly, go into the right lists and segments. Bang, you've fully automated it, this entire process of staying top of mind and creating emails for your list. And then you've looked at, after that they send for the month, you looked at your metrics, and you've taken the best of those 8 that were non-promotional, 6 of the 8 at a minimum, and you're putting the best ones into your flows. Keep repeating this month after month to make more revenue, more profit, more customer, get more customers and more orders month after month after month. Here's the benefit you'll see. Like I said, more revenue. You'll improve the ROAS of your paid advertising dollars by getting more sales with the same amount of ad spend. You'll establish a deeper connection with your audience and stay top of mind consistently. You'll get much higher margins than you get selling on any other channels. So hopefully you see the benefits that I promised you. Hopefully you see how now by consistently sending, you'll be able to achieve all of these goals. So what's next? Where do you go from here? Now that we've shown you our process, there's freebies, right? So just having a conceptual understanding and even having built an email, you may still have questions. So I have a course set up, a training that is going to be free for you guys for two different types of people. There's some of you guys that don't have an email list or email service provider, right? So we have a training on how to set up Klaviyo, right? And so you'll get a rock solid Klaviyo account set up very quickly. It just takes less than 45 minutes, an hour or so, right? We also have a MailChimp tutorial if you prefer that. I don't recommend it, but use a setup guide, and then do everything that the people who already have a list do. So the next freebies are for the people who already have an email list and Klaviyo. You're going to get an audit checklist because you don't necessarily need to set it up. You need to make sure it's set up properly. So you'll get that checklist. It's a video that walks you through how to check it in a spreadsheet that'll help you check off to make sure you did it right. And then finish building out your campaign calendar. You built one today, build out all the rest of the emails. That's the next one. So you'll also be getting downloads that are swipe files of best performing subject lines, swipe file of top performing email templates, and a couple other things that are examples that you can use to make the creation process faster. And then just send out emails, right? So what you're going to do is, this is where you get it, KlavioROI.com, right? And so when you go to that link, you're going to be asked to sign up. You'll immediately get the 20 subject lines download, right? And you can click a button at the top here to download it. And then off to the right, if you want the trainings, the free trainings, I had to set it up this way because it is a paid course. We actually sell this to people. But if you use the coupon code ELANA in that box in the top right of this field, after you've entered your email and first name, it'll be marked 100% off, right? Use the code ELANA, ILANA, at KlavioROI.com. And then you'll be able to get the course. It'll ask you to sign up with your for an account, email address and password, and you'll be able to log in and access all the different courses and trainings that are in there. Now, some people have asked me at the end of this training, hey, how do I need more, I don't even want to do this stuff. Can you guys do this for me? Or they're like, look, you went too fast, Emmanuel. Is there more training? So we have a training as well. And we also do this as an agency for people. So if you are interested in that, this is not mandatory at all. Just click yes on the little checkbox at the bottom when you sign up at KlavioROI.com. Click the yes for whichever one you're interested, if interested at all, for the training and or for us to help you either audit your account, give you another set of eyes, or to run your email program for you. So that's it, Alana. I'm all done. I just wanted to put this up here to remind people of what's next, but I appreciate you having me here.
Love it. Thank you so much. I just wanted to say too that I can completely vouch for his process. And Emmanuel and I only met like 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, recently.
But I do this exact same thing more or less with my emails as well. So it does absolutely work. I highly encourage you all to try to go through this if you haven't done it as we worked through this today. But it does absolutely work. I actually do not do anything in my service provider until the email is already written up and done. So I do that separately as well.
Nice.
So thank you. This is fantastic. I love it. We do have some questions that
Great.
I know we're a little bit over time, but I wanted to see if we can get some of these squeezed in. So those of you who are still here, thank you very much. We'll try to get through them quickly. The first one you sort of touched on a little bit, but let's go ahead and address it anyways. The attendee says, I maintain a list of 2,500, which 50% are not engaged. Is there any advantage to purging the 50% that are not engaged?
Yes, but I would unsuppress them first as opposed to purging. You don't necessarily have to delete them and remove them. The reason is you can keep a group of suppressed people and market to them on Facebook. So you can sync that segment over to Facebook and reach them that way. That's the purging. So that's my assumption. You're deleting them. Don't delete them. Keep them in there. Just unsuppress them because Klaviyo is not going to charge you for suppress them. I keep saying that. Suppress them, and you won't be charged for suppressed subscribers, and you can still market to them on Facebook, right? Then the second thing is before you suppress them, actually send 2 or 3 emails that are very aggressive subject line emails, right? These are the emails that are like, your tax refund is enclosed, right? Or RE colon, right? Just really spammy headlines. The reason is sometimes people are there, they just haven't been opening for some reason. So you want to test to see, are you alive? Are you a bot? Because to your point, 50% engaged, some of them may be bots. That happens, right? And there's no one there. So if they don't open that, they definitely are a bot, or they definitely aren't engaged. Once you've tested to make sure they're not engaged, then yes, absolutely. Go ahead and suppress them, but keep them on your list without deleting them.
How do you handle that though? Because it's my understanding that there are many providers now that don't allow you to track open rates to a T. And I know for myself, like you mentioned, if I have images turned off, my images are turned off, which means that a lot of the trackers don't work for me. So how do you handle that if the person just has it so that you can't track to know if they've opened it or not?
That's a fantastic question, and it's getting harder, right? So in
Yeah.
Klaviyo, there's actually a setting, and I'll have to find the exact wording for it, but it will allow, the reason that may happen is, especially in Apple, privacy mail, there's a privacy mail flag or whatever, what the iOS 15 did that, but Klaviyo has created a way for you to filter that out, that our Apple privacy mail opens, right? And so you can actually see, did the person open this, or did Apple open that? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, we don't need to, you're right, I should have been more specific in my answer, but not how we define engaged or not engaged. If we're only focused on open rates, you're right, we're going to have a lot of false positives. You should be also including in that segment of unengaged if they haven't clicked or purchased or active on site. Those other, in a certain time frame, those other metrics will help you weed out some people who may actually be engaged, but they're not really showing as opening, right? So we'll have those others. And the flip side of this is, what this will do is there's far less chance of having a false positive, because what's happening with that is it's showing people opening more often rather than less often. So they're going to be seen as more engaged than they really are. So there's not a risk of like purging people out who actually were engaged, because we're looking for people who are not engaged.
Awesome. Thanks for that clarification. And I think this is one of those selling points too for Klaviyo, and the way that they handle a lot of these advanced situations is unparalleled to other email service providers. Like many of them just don't have that kind of capability to be able to kind of hone in on that. So that's really helpful.
Nice.
John had a couple of questions. The first one is, I'm brand new to email marketing and Klaviyo. I would be curious what you feel are the most important first steps to getting things rolling off.
Love it. First of all, go to KlavioROI.com, because I have a whole bunch of free training specifically geared for you. And the reason why we created it, a lot of people charge $700, $800, $900 for the same training we put out. I know, because I've taken all the courses, but I put it out for free because we have an agency, right? So we do this for people. My goal is for folks to get so good at email marketing that they're like, look, I know I could do it, but I have better things to do with my time that are making me more money. So you guys just handle it. That's how our agency is set up. So I put all these trainings out there specifically for folks like yourself, right? You're new to email marketing. Like, how do I send out emails? This whole presentation was about a momentum method to send out emails, right? And then you should be sending at least 8 emails. After this meeting, there should be no reason why you're not emailing 8 times a month, right? If you need examples, I gave you examples, right? You have, if you're wondering, how do I set up my Klaviyo? That will be in the Klaviyo ROI training, right? In our Klaviyo ROI Academy, there's a whole training in there on how to set up your Klaviyo, how to build out all your flows, how to set up your initial emails. This momentum method recording will be in there too. So this is the way.
I love it. You're so much more eloquent than me. I would have been like, just send something. Just do it.
That is true. That's another way. And
just send it.
And it would be equally good advice. Just start.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate that one. And then the last question that we have, and if you're still here and you have questions, please do feel free to enter them into the Q&A. John also says, I sell a high-end dog bed with an average order value of $189, and there is a decent time lag between purchases. Have you worked with other brands that don't sell a consumable product with a frequent repurchase cadence? And if so, what have they found to be successful for engaging content in between purchases?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different questions in here, like you said. First of all, is a high-end idea. I love that already, because when you do make it sell, you make more than than normal. A lot of our clients in the $25 to $50 range. So this is good. I highly encourage you. What that means is send more rather than less emails. And in this case, you're in the pet space. So the second part of your question is, don't have brands that don't sell a consumable product. Almost every brand we've built has not been consumable. If you've ever heard of a satin lined cap, which a lot of people have not, so don't feel bad. And that's kind of my point, is you don't have to buy them often, right? They last a year or more. So people aren't buying 3, 4, 5 times. So that makes it hard to get people repeat purchasing often. And so you end up having to focus on new customer acquisition, right? So for you, that is what you're going to have to do, right? Is when your new customers come in, you're going to have to focus on your email marketing, really nurturing them to make sure they buy, get them over that first purchase hump as fast as possible. So your welcome series is going to be crucial. That being said, your emails, the third part of your question is, I don't sell the frequent repurchase cadence, right? What would be engaging content? The 12 email types I gave you, for you, you're in the pet space. So there's tons of engaging content. So take your most recent social media post that did very well, slap the headline, the caption in as content, slap the image in there as the image, put a link to the product in the image, bang, there's your email for this today. Do that 7 more times, you've got 8 non-promotional, non-spammy, non-salesy emails. That's just social media posts, blog posts that have done well. Same thing, influencers that have called you out. And that's just using our email template types. I'm sure you can start to think about pets. What cute, interesting TikToks are other people's content? Take other people's content. I mean, it's the pet space, right? Cute, adorable animals, right? You could probably send out a daily pulse email that's literally just, cutest, Boston Terriers. I don't even know if that's a real dog type. I'm not much of it, but the cutest Rottweilers, right? Pretty Rottweilers. Like that I would open that up if you found pretty, not aggressive, angry looking Rottweilers, but pretty bulldogs, pretty Rottweilers. Great content. Yeah, and really the crux of what I'm saying is engaging content is stuff that you would find valuable that doesn't necessarily sell, right? It's just interesting, cute, funny, especially in the pet space. I would love to be in the pet space.
Yeah. And you mentioned it earlier too, Emmanuel, FAQs, like the things that people are asking you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think dogs and pets are like kids, and people want to do all the right things by their kids. And so they're always hyper concerned about the things that they're buying for their dogs or their cats. And is it healthy for them? Or like, is this the right thing? Like you could educate them till you're blue in the face and they would eat it up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because they're always confused. Right. You always wonder if you're doing right. And if you're like, oh, I'm doing right, then my dog's happy. You always wonder, could you be doing better? So you can literally do the tutorial emails along with the FAQ, right? Just teach them something, education.
Exactly. Simone says, you mentioned that this is not for services. I sell luxury travel and sell gift cards on Shopify. Any advice?
That was for a very specific thing. This is not.
That was about how you obtain your your list.
For you, selling something that's a higher ticket, you do need to do more lead gen, right? So what I was talking about there was like a lot of people in the e-commerce space sell, $2 fidget spinners, and they've got 100 email, welcome series. Why? Right? You don't need that. Just have someone buy the $2 fidget spinner. Whereas if you're selling a $20,000 product, no one's going to just click buy, add to cart and buy off of that. So in your scenario, you probably do need to focus a lot more on lead gen. And instead of trying to sell someone on the $20,000 package through your Facebook ad, sell them on a guide or some freebie download where they can download it. And then you have more time to nurture them and educate them on your offer and why it's important, defeat objections, upsell the value, and do all the things you need to do to get them ready to buy. And more than likely, they're not going to buy off of an email by clicking and going to the website. Your emails, your calls to action should probably be more like schedule a call, come visit us in the office. Yeah, that's the difference.
Definitely. Yeah, I think yours are very educational focused as well, for sure. This will probably be our last question. So Jan says, I have tested excluding Apple privacy opens from my campaigns, and not surprisingly, the open rate for the campaign is lower. Does a lower open rate going forward have any negative impacts on the delivery of future emails? I actually have feelings about this, and I think we might disagree. I'm so curious what you think.
Okay. If you want, you can go first, or I'll go first.
I personally, I would love to hear what you say about this.
Okay.
I personally don't think open rate matters that much, that people stress about the open rate because it's going to have impact on your delivery. I I would not spend time on it. That's me. I've never cared. I don't care about open rates. I don't care about click-through rates. I only care about the outcome, which is, are people buying?
Mhm.
And if they're buying, then clearly my emails are working and it's fine. But that's just me.
I thought we were going to disagree the way you opened
Oh,
it. I
good.
completely agree with you. Yeah, I don't care really, to be honest, especially now in iOS 15, open rates don't matter. Now, I see where this is coming from. I know why people think they matter. People think they matter because that's what Klaviyo themselves push. But who does the open rate actually help, guys? It helps Klaviyo. It doesn't help us. All those warm-ups, those engagement tiers, like warming up, all that stuff, because you're on a shared IP infrastructure. What that means, if they have an emailer show up and just spam millions of people, that whole IP, meaning, everyone that's on every Klaviyo's email marketer is going to get banned and spam, like, because of that one bad actor. So they encourage the open rates for that. Now, I'm not saying that's right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just the state of affairs. So open rate matters because that's what they really push. All of them, MailChimp, ConvertKit, they all want you to protect their infrastructure. The problem is if you take that advice and they all want above a 20% open rate. If you notice on my metric sheet, we go for 15. I've argued with all the reps, that we've had. We have our agency reps. I'll tell them, I'm going for 15, guys. I don't care what you say, because the only way to really bump up your email open rates, there's an inverse correlation, right? The more your open rate goes up, the less people you're sending to, right? Because you're sending to people who are more and more engaged, meaning people who more and more consistently open. They open the last 5 emails, open the last 10 emails, super engaged people. Well, not everyone's going to be engaged, right? So I don't focus on that. The other reason, so that's the first thing, recognize what you're being told, right? And then the second thing is open rate's easy to cheat. Like I said, just use when I was saying list cleaning, you can just game it. Your open rate is affected the most by subject lines, right? Your content, the rest of it. If they don't open it, they won't see any of that. So you can game it by just having really spammy subject lines, right? Here's $5 for you. You're going to open that email, right? So if you want to improve your open rate, let's assume Alana and I agreed with you and we were like, yes, you're right. You need to raise your open rate. That's what I would be telling you to do, is fix your subject line, right? If your click-through rate's a problem, you need to fix how well you sell your call to action. Easiest way to fix your click-through rate is simply leave a cliffhanger. So that's why I said, don't put the entire blog post in your blog post announcement, put just the first paragraph and hang on that cliffhanger and say, click here to read more. Doing things like that is what will get people to click through more, right? Now, in terms of impacting your delivery rate, what will impact your delivery rate is absolutely, if people are not opening your emails, it does send an indicator that the stuff that you're sending is not valuable, right? That's why you need to be doing list cleaning. If you have people on your list that are not opening your emails, clean those people out, because yes, it will impact it. It's not as big of an impact as you would think, though, right? So I wouldn't worry about it for deliverability issues in the long run if people aren't opening, by doing those other things. Clean your list often, have really aggressive subject lines, and also don't worry about it so much.
I love it. Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for sticking around. I appreciate you hanging out for a little bit longer. Emmanuel, this is fantastic. I will be sure to include the link to klaviyoroi.com and the coupon code so that everyone can get access to it. Like I said, I hope to have an email going out later today or first thing tomorrow with the recording, as well as a feedback form. Please fill that out. I would love to be able to share your thoughts with Emmanuel, as well as future thoughts on what you want different meetups to look like or new topics. So please do share with us. Emmanuel, thank you so much. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure. And thanks everyone for joining us today.
Been fun.